Welcome back to Etheria Restart. Today, I'm here giving you guys the best strategy, day one, to pull the best odds of Animus that are SSR, or even light and dark Animus inside of the game. Before I get into this strategy, I urge you guys, download the game with my QR code or my link in the description. This is going to give you bonus rewards on day one and additional pulls, so it's imperative that you use that link and that QR code. I have Hermes back with me today. He's going to be walking us through a strategy that he's come up with throughout the beta. Now, as we know, we have the limited where we can pull Freya right here, the Fleeting Dream. We have the light judgment opportunity where we can get ourselves some light Animus as well. We have the targeted summon, which is really important here, where you can actually choose the Animus that you can get out of this whole group. We have recommendations there as well. The permanent summon and the X-Tree Affinity summon. Hermes, thanks for coming through another video, my friend. Take us through what you've put together, a strategy that you put together to actually give you the best odds of pulling the best Animus with as little summons as we may have.
Yo, what's going on? I'm so glad to be back. Yeah, this is honestly something that I've been thinking about, looking at some other sources as well, and just kind of going through as I'm trying to learn more about all these different animus that we've got in the game, and just going back on my experience with this beta when it came to pulls, because really, like, you get so many early on, you just, at least for me, like, I was overwhelmed. I was like, man, I'm just pulling like crazy. Like, I'll just pull a little here, put a little there, put a little everywhere, and I'll just pick up everything as things come together. And so for me, it was like a really one of those things where I was like, I'll just get everything together and I'll pull banner by banner, starting with that permanent summon, then going to Freya, then going back to the permanent summon where I can just pull everybody. And that actually is not the way that I think we should do this on launch.
Okay, so talk to me about the strategy that you've come up with. And also, actually, before you talk to me about the strategy, I want to hear how many did you actually pull? Because you played for 2 weeks, you spent $0 inside of the beta yourself, and you had yourself a bunch of SSRs. Tell me about that before we get into the strategy.
Oh yeah, I mean, so I pulled somewhere in the range, I think of like it was like over 500 summons. What I would do is I'd get a little bit of Hydra crystals going on as we went through, but then what I'd also do is I would just basically just playing the game. You got so many summons that they was coming out my ear all over the place.
Love
So I
it.
think in total, I want to say I pulled eight. I think in total, like they weren't unique. So that's one of the things I want to talk about with this. And I've talked about it a little bit before, is only pull one Freya, then leave. Because I ended up with three of them because I
Mm-hmm.
got two Freyas in the same 10 pull, not realizing that you could only pull Freya out of that banner.
Yep. Well, it makes a lot of sense. So let's get into your strategy. Talk to me about, okay, it's day one. We have week one ahead. Whether you're someone that's spending or someone that's free to play, there's a lot of opportunity here. Talk to me about what we should be thinking about doing first.
So, what I would honestly say, because of how many pulls you get, start out in that permanent summon banner. You get so many of the prototypes that honestly, and here's why. In Fleeting Dreams, you are guaranteed to get Freya after 80 pulls. She is the only SSR you can pull from that banner. And the targeted summons banner, after 40 pulls, you will get the Animus that you have targeted to go after. You can pull other Animus before that 40th pull, but you will only ever get that on that targeted summon. You'll get that one that you want, the guaranteed one.
Correct. Yeah. Which
But
which
on that
which
permanent,
which we want to we recommended in the past that Tiamat's the one that we get there, but we have another strategy here to get Tiamat. Correct.
yeah. So, and that's the big thing. So when you go into the permanent summons, you were there before. You look at probabilities. You have all of the SSR, Animus. They're available in there. So you'll see Tiamat is in there. Tiamat is one of the ones you can pull. And what's crazy is Tiamat is actually one of the ones I pulled from that permanent banner. So I pulled her day one from my targeted summons, but then I also pulled her from the permanent banner. And dupes are great, right? They give you a little bit of stat boost or whatever, but it's not as impactful as getting an entirely new SSR. And so my thinking now is like, well, you get so many summons. Let's see what you pull like days 1 through 3, on this permanent summons banner because you can kind of clear a bunch of content using Dorothy, Gray, and Leanne. So those first 3 days, just use those three, go into
Mhm.
this permanent summons banner, get as much as you can, and then go figure out which SSRs you've pulled, and then go figure out who you're going to pull from the targeted summons, as well as going and picking up your Freya.
Yeah, so that makes actually a ton of sense, right? Our targeted summons is essentially our get out of jail free card. Like, who did we want to get that we didn't get on days 1 through 3 from the permanent summons? We can come through and get that Animus. And essentially, who's that's going to be is if we don't pull Tiamat in day 1 through 3 from the permanent summon, we'll come over here and we'll pull Tiamat from the targeted summon after our 40 pulls. So really wise thinking. I mean, in the past, everyone's like, just come on over and get Tiamat right away. But I think the strategy that you've put together here is even smarter. Now, talk to me. You did mention Freya. Talk to me about how she fits into this mix and how you actually want to see her being pulled. And is that, I'm assuming that's after the 30 days, after those first 3 days as well.
Yeah, I would definitely say, obviously, you want to make sure that you still pull Freya within the time frame that she's available, but she is your third priority summon banner. And the reason why is she's the only SSR you can pull in that banner. So you
Correct.
could go in and do 20 summons and you'll get Freya, or you could do the full 80 and but you'll only get Freya. Whereas on both the targeted and the permanent banners, Freya is an available option on both those banners. So let's say while you're targeting Tiamat on that banner, on that summon banner, you could pull Freya on your way to Tiamat. Same with the permanent banner. Both of those, you can pull her off of there.
Got it. So there's a
Or maybe she's
chance.
not available on that one right now.
There's well, she may be eventually, or maybe she won't be eventually. But the point is, whether she's available on the targeted summons or not, she is available on the permanent summons, and you could get those probabilities of pulling her over here. She's right over here. So
Yep.
the strategy here is you could potentially not even need to do the fleeting dream. You could just get Freya from the permanent summons, and then decide to, do you want to dupe of her? Well, you could clearly get that from Fleeting Dream, or do you just want to keep doing the permanent summons and seeing what you get out of that? But you're backing yourself up with the targeted summons as well to pull in basically a Tiamat or another Animus that you really do like. Now, talk to me about light and dark, because I know there was a big part of this as well.
Yeah, for sure. So one of the big things as well to look at is that on that permanent summons banner, if you scroll down, you'll see those light and dark units are all available on this banner. You can get all of those, which is kind of crazy to think about that normally you have to get the premium summoning currency in order to summon them, but they're an available option in this one that you can pull throughout this.
Yeah, now tell me though, it says base drop rate of Apex Animuses for SSR, we're talking these five right here, 0.25%. So what is, that's not a large percent. So what's your thought process there comparing that to SSRs?
Honestly, so it's again, it's not a small, obviously it's not a small drop rate. It's 3 times less likely, like you're 3 times more likely to pull a regular SSR. But that's also because of how valuable these light and dark units are, right? And my thinking is you get so many pulls throughout the course of you playing that it's worth it to go into this permanent summon banner for a chance at them, right? Like any of those light and dark units you get are just huge on the account, right?
Yeah.
So just the opportunity and the chance to get one of them is so valuable that it is definitely worthwhile having that opportunity to pull one.
Yeah, so you're basically playing the gotcha mechanic right there, and you're trying to get one of these five rather than using your pulls in other areas where there's zero chance of getting them. So I actually like that strategy, and honestly, depending on who you would get down here, if you did get a light or dark, it could really change your mind on what SSRs are going to be valuable to you as well.
Exactly. Which then goes back to that targeted summons banner of if you pull, let's say again, let's say you pull Messiah, right, who's a big time damage dealer, maybe instead of wanting let's say you were going for someone other than Tiamat, right? On that first one. Obviously, I think Tiamat's the best option. But
Hmm.
let's say you wanted like a different damage dealer to help you progress. Let's say you pull Messiah on that permanent summons banner. All of a sudden, you can go pick up that Tiamat on that target summon because you've now got this crazy good damage dealer, and now you can pick a support damage hybrid.
Right, because your damage dealer primary is already locked and is going to be long-term locked in your account because you essentially you pulled a game changer right there. If you get the pull.
Exactly.
No, I
Exactly.
love.
And again, that's just how it goes, right? That's just what the mechanics go, right? It's the gotcha mechanic. You've got to play smart with this gotcha mechanic. And like with you, like you've made a couple of guides on now spending, you've spent a little bit of money, so you're gonna get more opportunity to actually get these pulls in because of how you've been smart with the way you've pulled. But there's still an aspect of you might not get the one you want, but playing smart to have a backup plan.
I mean, people are going to complain all the time about gotcha mechanics, right? That gotcha mechanics are there to make you spend money inside of the game because you're just not getting what you want. But I think the biggest takeaway from this video is that you could be smart and try to min-max the system so that you're giving yourself the best odds to see that success. Of course, there's still gotcha. It's part of what this whole genre is about. It's part of why we love the genre, honestly. But it's got strategies that we're sharing here that you can use to better your odds of doing. Now, remind me again. I think you said in the beginning of the video, how many polls did you do when we started out in the beta over those 2 weeks?
It was somewhere in the range of like I think it was like 550 maybe. Again,
Okay.
I don't remember the exact number, but it was somewhere in the range of between 5 and 600.
That's insane. I mean, essentially, you're looking at two on the low side. You're going to be getting 200 to 250 summons in a week. All right, that's a lot of opportunities to take advantage of this permanent summon right here in your first week and see exactly what you're going to be able to pull out. Maybe you're going to be able to get some of that luck, and maybe you'll even be able to pull out one of these light and darks. I know I'm going to be live streaming the moment that this game goes live. And we're going to be doing our polls and doing all the strategies that we've spoken about right here in the live stream and in the recurring videos from that. By the way, I want to state, this is something I didn't state earlier, we are on right now the test build because we're able to test things out inside of the server so that we can prepare content for the game when it comes out. So if you're wondering why the numbers up top are very high, none of this is actually real money. It is all not mine. It won't be mine on day one. It is the developer's build of the game. All right, Hermes, any last tips or any other items that you want to touch on before we end the video?
Well, honestly, it's just kind of going back to how many summons and how crazy it is. Like, let's say, so obviously now they've updated that pity system, which I know you made
Yeah.
a news video on. So people, if they haven't watched it, go back and watch that because it's big news. But when you break it down with the amount of pulls I got, and I wasn't playing super hardcore either. Like the amount of pulls I got, you'll get on about, if you hit pity every single time, you'll get 7 SSRs in the first 2 weeks,
Yeah, that's
which is
crazy.
crazy to think about, right?
And that's hitting pity with like literally zero luck. It's just the pity system itself. Yeah.
If you have 0 luck, you'll still have so many SSRs.
For people that haven't played this type of a turn-based strategy, gotcha mechanic style game, those odds are actually quite good, especially with the amount of summons that you're being given for free from the game. That's a big part of it. If we were getting 10 for free per week, that would mean it would take us 8 weeks to actually get enough to hit pity. But we're not. We're getting 200 to 300 per week from playing the game and really being able to take advantage of it. Plus, they throw out codes and things like that all the time too to support the community, which I'll also be sharing here in the channel. But Hermes, I really appreciate the tips here. You essentially highlighted the value that we can get here out of the probabilities from the permanent summons. So I'm going to be focusing here myself for the first few days of the account, and we will definitely keep people up to date on what type of pulls we get, what type of Animus are going to be our leads that we're really going to focus on. And of course, we'll give you guides on everything along the way. Any last words before we're out of here, Hermes?
Nah, I think that's it. I'm so excited for launch.
We're almost there, man, and we're almost there. Again, thanks to Etheria Restart for sponsoring today's video. And if you want even more polls and more opportunity with more rewards, use this QR code or my link in the description to download or pre-register for Etheria Restart.